Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari and today I want to give you a brief guide to develop inner peace. And first, let's start off by saying that why do we have to develop inner peace? Well, everybody wants peace, right? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, how can there be happiness without peace? So you need peace. Now, normally we depend on peace coming from the outside. Like right now, I'm recording this in a beautiful garden. It's very peaceful here. So I could just sit here and feel great peace coming from the outside in. You know, the sun's just right. It's not too cold. Everything's great. Lucky for me. But the truth is, you know, we can't depend on peace coming from the outside in because things aren't always so idyllic, right? We have complicated people around us, people who are suffering, who have lots of toxicity in their heart, and they spew out toxicity and make our lives miserable. And we have, you know, weather patterns, and we have traffic and pollution, and it's just, you know, life is complicated. So we can't depend on peace coming from the outside. We have to learn how to get peace from the inside out. And that's what we're going to do here, and that's what yoga teaches us anyway. So first, two things you have to do to be able to experience peace. The first one is you have to bring your mind to the here and now. Why is this? Because when your mind goes to the past, it's reliving situations. Even if they're positive, nice situations. You might even be remembering a moment where you were experiencing a nice situation like I am right now, like a peaceful place. But even then, if it's in the past, there's a little bit of melancholy, of sadness, especially if your current situation isn't very nice, because you're like, oh, that was nice, but now it's not. So that was good, now it's bad, so you feel like, oh, things are worse. You feel down. And, you know, that's how we're not remembering something bad, because usually we remember bad things in the past, right? Somebody offended you, somebody left you, somebody hurt you. And then you're remembering, you know, a painful situation, then you're definitely not feeling any peace. So your mind in the past, not a good place for peace. Now, what we do a lot then is our minds goes to the future, like, oh, maybe I can go to a nice place, maybe I can get out of this hellhole and find some peace. But then we're full of anxiety. We're thinking, oh yeah, only if I had money, only if I had that place, only if I had that person. And then your mind is in anxiety. It's what we call in the 3T path, the fantasy paradigm, where you have this poisonous cocktail of anxiety, fear, jealousy, frustration. Not a good place for you to be at all. So your mind has to be in the here and now. It's the only chance to experience peace is if you're in the here and now. Now, once you're in the here and now, what is your mind focused on? I mean, it's nice. You could just be in the here and now, just focus on your breathing, for example. That's great. But what is your mind focused on as you go through the day to maintain that state of peace? Well, then the second key element is Dharma Purpose. You have to be in the here and now, fully absorbed in your purpose, in the action that best fulfills you, that best, you know, makes you be you, the best version of yourself at this moment. And throughout the day, different actions are necessary, different behaviors, right? You have to take care of yourself, you have to go to your job, you have to take care of your children, you have to drive safely. There's, you know, but so what right now is the best thing for you to do that most satisfies and defines who you really are? That's Dharma. That's the definition of Dharma. It's essence and duty. Like, what is your essence? And from that, what is your duty? So as you focus your mind on Dharma, then you feel the natural peace of just being totally mindful of action. And we call this being in the flow. You might have heard this term. And you're totally in the flow. You just focus on action, and naturally you feel peace because you're not depending it on coming from the outside in. You're making it from the inside out as you focus your mind on being yourself. So those are two important points. Now, if you've developed your spirituality, there's a great recommendation from Bhagavad Gita, which kind of gets these 2 points and adds a third one. And we call this the spirit of yajna. So throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you see this description of acting in the here and now, according to your Dharma, but then with the additional aspect of making everything an offering to Krishna, to God. This is the concept where I am in the here and now, I am doing my action, but I am not attached to the result. That's how you stay in the here and now, focused on the action. It's like one way, one concept that describes this idea of being in the here and now, focused on your action. Do everything as an offering unto God. And if you're not, like, oh God, I'm not sure, okay, make it an offering to the universe, at least that. So as you're doing that, your mind is no longer in the result. You're no longer, I'm acting now because I want something in the result, in the future. No, I'm just in here and now, in the action. I'm completely absorbed in the flow, in the action. I'm not thinking about the future, because as soon as you think about the future, then you'll get that whole poisonous cocktail again of anxiety, frustration, jealousy, etc. So you keep your mind here and you make it an offering to the Supreme. Another spiritual topic, another spiritual suggestion for experiencing great peace is also described in Bhagavad Gita, which is where you just feel your own presence. It's called Atman realization, where you just for a little bit, even if it's only for a little bit, you just focus your consciousness on your consciousness. You have this incredible ability, right? If you have a flashlight, you can only point the light to other things, but you can't point the light back at the flashlight. You could look in the mirror, I guess. But the consciousness has this great ability that it can focus on its own self. So this self-realization, that's what's called self-realization. So you can do that. It's the I am. You just experience, you just calm your mind enough, and you remove words, thoughts in forms of words, and you're certainly not in the past, not in the future. You're completely present in your own self, and you experience I am. So this is a great source of unlimited bliss and peace that you can experience. And then lastly, one more suggestion in Bhagavad Gita for feeling peace, Krishna gives at the end of chapter 5, and he says, look, and this is a very devotional, this is for people who have developed their devotion, bhakti already. And he says, look, if you think of me in three aspects of my being, three aspects of God, you will, he says, experience shanti. I love that word for peace. This is a great word in Sanskrit, isn't it? Shanti, shanti, shanti. This is the great word. So he says, you experience shanti if you know me, Krishna is saying, as three things. First of all, as the beneficiary of everything you do. So that state of like everything I do, yajna, as an offering to the Lord. So if you know me to be the ultimate, object of all you do, of your efforts. So everything you're doing it for God. First thing, he says. Second thing, if you know me to be the supreme Lord and ruler, controller of everything and everyone. So God is the supreme controller of everything and everyone. So if you know that. And then third, he says, if you know that I am your very best friend, your well-wisher. So if you know these three things, he says, then you will experience shanti. So there you go. Lots of suggestions for you to experience peace coming from your inside out, not depending on your external situations, but only on the state of your consciousness. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please leave below, and have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.